And, we got a quote on doing some in our pantry, in our kitchen sink, to do some pull-out drawers, and the quote was fairly high. So instead of doing that, we found some drawer slides online, full extension ones. And what I'm planning to do here is, it's actually two cabinets. There's a top and a bottom, and just cut some pieces of plywood for the top. It's about 40 inches tall. Bottom's about 48.5 inches. To clear the hinges of the door, I need it to be an inch thick. So I'm just going to take two pieces of 1/2 inch, glue them together. I don't want to screw anything into the sides of the cabinet. There's already pins for shelves that go in there. We may want to put those back at some point if this doesn't work or if she doesn't like it. So the plan is just to put sides in, put a bottom and a top to squish the sides apart, and then I'll put the drawer rails on the plywood. So I'm not actually going to screw anything into this cabinet. It'll be like a box inside the cabinet that I'm building with the drawer slides on the side, and then do shelves that slide out. Basically, we're not going to do any of this triangle stuff here. We did buy 1/4 inch plywood that I can create backs and sides for. We'll figure that out as we go and see what our needs are. But I did get the 1/2 inch plywood that I needed and 3/4 inch plywood that I need for these projects. We'll be using plywood for the sides of the drawers here and 1/4 inch for the bottom. It's not that wide of a distance depth. I think at max we're looking at 20 inches by 20 inches. So even the weight of stuff in there with the 1/4 inch plywood would be enough. If not, we can put strength on the bottom of the drawer. Okay, so I'm cutting the pantry walls now. So basically what I'm going to do is, I need an inch thick for the sides before I put the drawer rails on. So what I'm doing is I got 1/2 inch plywood here. I'm cutting the sheets in half. So I'll put 2 on each side. I'll glue them together. So right now I've got one cut, second one cut. I just need to cut them the proper height. So 40 inches for the top and 48.5 for the bottom. So here's the first set. I'm gonna cut these up, bring them downstairs in my basement, and glue them together. And then once they're glued together, I'll put them on the table saw and kind of trim them to final length. Next step in my pantry build here is to glue the two pieces of plywood together to make an inch. So these are two 1/2 inch pieces of plywood. I'm just going to lather glue on them. I got them so that they're warped in. I got a bunch of screws as well so that I can glue and screw it together, and hopefully it will take that warping out of it. So I've got left side, right side, bottoms, and then 4 other ones over there for the top part of the cabinet. So that's my next stage, is just to lather a bunch of glue on here and screw it together.
For this next part of the video, we're going to glue and screw the two side panels together. I sped this up just to save on time, but you spread glue all over the panels, clamp them down, put some weight to hold them flat, and then go around and put a series of screws in the corners. If you need to gently nudge them together, you can do so. Fairly simple process. You don't need a lot of screws. I just went around the edge and corners, and you want to set the screws in about an inch from the sides in the bottom, so when you trim it later to make them straight and flat, you won't hit any screws.
Okay, there we go. We've got the 4 side panels all glued, screwed, and clamped down right now with as much weight as I could put on it. We'll see, there's a few of these screws that are proud that I don't want to be, so I'll either take them out once the gluing is done, but I'll let this sit for probably about 4 days, just because it'll be 4 days before I can get back to it. So there we go. I will cut these on the side. That's why I left the screws in a little bit, just to even them up. They're a little bit uneven. So I'll send those through the table saw, all the sides, and square those up. Other than that, we're done with this. Once I'm done sawing them down, I will put the top ones in the cabinet just to see how they fit and see if this is going to work well. And then I need to measure the bottoms and the top. So these two short ones are for the top of the cabinet. So what I'll do is I will put one left side, one right side in, and then I'll cut a piece of plywood to go between them to friction fit them into the cabinet. I may do pocket holes from the side of those. Not sure yet. So that will be the bottom and the top, just to push it against there. And then wherever we're going to do the drawer slides, I think the top gets 3, the bottom gets 5. We'll figure out where those get placed. That's it for now. Okay, I'm working on the pantry panels. I'm going to put these into the pantry and then put drawer slides on these for the drawers to come out. And the one thing I had to do is laminate 2 pieces of 1/2 inch together to get enough thickness to get around the face frame so the drawer slides will work properly. But now what I need to do is I need to trim these panels up so that they're nice and flush and even. I would prefer to stack both left and right sides together, which is about 2 inches of material, and make them perfectly square to each other. I'd really need to do that with a track saw, which I don't have. So instead I'm using the router with this guide and just trimming off as little as possible. It really doesn't matter if there's play in the top and bottom or left and right. You know, as long as they're long enough to still maintain a drawer slide, we're good. And it's not going to go all the way to the top of the cabinet anyway, which is good. So it's not really going to hurt anything if they're not perfectly square. I just would rather have them perfectly square. When I go put the mating drawer slides on, I will just lay a panel side by side and make sure that they're going at the exact same level on both sides. So that should be good. So for now, I am just routing the edges out. My helper's not here, so I can't hold this and route at the same time for safety, but I will put it down here. And see what we can do. I really like this router base from Rockler, and it goes in, clamps into this nice and easy. Makes it really easy to do this stuff. I've shown this before, but just lock it onto the railing right there. It's nice and good, and then you just slide it along. Of course, routers are messy, but we get a nice, very smooth edge on here. Now you can tell where I stopped. There's a little bump there, a little bump there, so I'll go over it again just to get it nice and smooth. Usually that was probably where I stopped to adjust the camera and slide it in there, but doing this to all 4 sides, and then I will sand the outside side because we're going to paint it before we put the drawer slides on. Thanks for watching.